Hi, welcome to our channel. My name's Michelle, and today's video is going to be about the differences between buying a brand new trailer and buying a used trailer. What we started off thinking was that we were going to buy brand new, but now we've ended up choosing a used one, and that'll be what we end up doing. One of the things that we did when we first started looking at trailers was we were deciding, obviously, the floor plan. Well, after choosing a fifth wheel, and I'll put a link right up here to our very first video where I proclaimed that we were going to have a 3-axle trailer and a dually pickup truck. In fact, our channel name was originally Life on 12 Wheels, and it was because our trailer and truck were going to have a total of 12 wheels. Well, we've decided that after fine-tuning what we need out of a trailer and fine-tuning what we want for our lives financially, we've now settled on a used trailer, but it only has 2 axles. So what ended up happening was we now have settled on the trailer that we're going to get, but it's different from what we originally envisioned, right? How did we come to that decision? What I start doing when I decide I'm going to change my life or, buy a new product, right? I watch YouTube videos. So I started watching different videos on different tours of different RVs. Everything from Class A's to travel trailers. No, actually, I take that back. I was never considering a travel trailer. Everything from Class A's to fifth wheels, and then actually a fifth wheel that was a toy hauler because we wanted to look at the space available in a toy hauler that had a patio for the back. Well, as I'm watching all of these videos, I find a comment here or a comment there. I read a lot of things in the comments. Then I found out, there's Facebook groups. So I start joining a bunch of Facebook groups. Well, in those Facebook groups, I barely ask any questions, or I didn't in the beginning. Now I ask questions, but for the most part, I'm actually reading other people's comments. The reason you do that is so you can learn, right? Look at what other people are wondering about and then read people's responses. We originally were choosing a Grand Design. I joined 3 Grand Design Facebook groups, but I also joined 2 full-time living Facebook groups where people have all kinds of rigs. But what I started finding was there's people that are complaining about Grand Design, but there's people that are proclaiming that they're fabulous as well. The biggest thing that I just spit on myself. The biggest thing that I noticed was the commentary about buying from a dealership. That ended up being a big part of either the bad stuff about buying brand new or used, but it became a predominant conversation in all of these Facebook groups. Well, I started thinking, I don't really want to buy a trailer from a dealership, but obviously, 98% of the people buy their trailers from a dealership. I will say that it kind of pushed me towards, and my husband then agreeing with me, towards buying from Lux. And that's because they are direct from manufacturer. But their units are pricey because they are built with the highest quality. There are 3 top brands that I looked at originally that were the high-end ones, and 2 are direct from manufacturer, and those are Spacecraft and Lux. Then the third one was, what was it called? New Horizons, I think. I'll have to double check. I don't know. Maybe they're direct to manufacturer. I didn't spend much time looking at them, though. The thing about it was that I decided direct to manufacturer was going to probably be the best thing that we could do because I would cut out the dealership, wouldn't have to deal with any of their high pressure selling. Basically, when you buy from a manufacturer, that's the price. You're custom designing it. You're just going to get what you get. Are things higher price? Oh yeah. I mean, the rig that we were looking at was $163,000. Well, that's a little less than our house, but I mean, if you're going to live in it full time. And it was built for full time living, but still, it's a lot of money. I know that we're going into this living full time for longer than a year. So at the time when we originally were going to buckle down and do everything we could to get that Lux, we decided that that was the route to go. That was where our focus was, and it was primarily driven because we wouldn't have to deal with a dealership. Well, as we've been going through, and I watch videos constantly, and I'm reading in Facebook, I'm constantly gathering information. And part of that's because when you spend so much money on something, you need to know what you're getting yourself into. And I've been raised in a manner of, if you didn't have the answers, you went and got the answers. That kind of, that makes me the adult that I am. I wasn't really allowed to say stuff to my family and my parents when I was younger if I didn't really have all my information. So I kind of trained myself as an adult like that. And my husband, I am constantly sending him emails with links to new videos. Anything that I research, anything I spend money on, I send him links to videos that helped me decide on that product, on that thing. So we just bought a bunch of camera equipment, and I must have watched 25 hours worth of videos on the specific pieces of equipment that I purchased, because I want to know I'm making the best choices with my money. So back to the used versus brand new topic. So when you go brand new, what are the top things that you look for in brand new? So for me, it was warranty, it was options, it was price, it was also, though, full-time capability. Well, their walls are only 1.25 inches thick. Grand Design is built well. So are Keystone is another top name, and DRV, that's another top name. There are brands out there that are sold through dealerships that have higher level quality than Grand Design, and they're more expensive, okay? Again, I did not want to deal with a dealership. This has been the key thing, that there's so many complaints about dealership, the pressure of selling, the pressure for warranties. Who knew you could buy warranties separate? You don't have to buy them from a dealership, but you learn all of this by reading Facebook groups and comments and posts and all these things, comments on posts. After all of this research, I'm thinking, you know what? I pretty much want to buy a used one that's built for full-time living, but was built in the past when trailers were not being built as fast as they're being built today. Grand Design is probably the most common one that people are seeing on YouTube channels, right? But they're being built so fast that there's opportunity for them to not be built well. This is why I started looking backwards at companies that built slower and also that built for full-time capability. I follow everything that Lux puts out. I watch every video that manufacturer puts out. I look at every Facebook post. I am in a Facebook group for current and future owners of the Lux brand, and they had up for sale a 2008 Carriage Carry Light. I'm watching the video because I watch everything they put out, and the woman in the video was doing a tour of this trailer because they're offering it for sale because they took it in as a trade-in. Well, she's talking about the quality because she actually had worked for them years ago, and she was describing the quality and in slight comparison to the Lux brand. Lux has only been around since, I think, 2017, and they were originally Augusta RV. This is another thing. I research these companies backwards and forwards. I want to know, why did they close? I want to know why they were sold. I want to know as much as I can find out, and then I can make a decision. The fact that the brand we're actually going to be choosing is the Evergreen brand. They make a variety of trailers, but what I found out was when Carriage shut down after 45 years, which this woman working for Lux now told in the video, when she said that, I was like, oh, well, that company, if they shut down for 45 years, when did they stop making trailers? So I found out basically from doing research on rvtrader.com and then looking at a bunch of videos, I couldn't find anything built after 2011. Well, then I started doing research and asking questions, and I found out that the carriage company workers, they went to work, a great number of them went to work for Evergreen building the Lifestyle brand. And they only built that Lifestyle brand for 4 years, and it was from 2013 to 2016, 13, 14, 15, 16, yeah, for 4 years. Well, I'm thinking, let's go check those out. If you look at these two trailers, they're identical. The wood in the cabinets is identical. The carpet is identical. The structure of the frame is identical. Everything that they use to describe how the trailer is built is identical. And I was like, oh, so that's pretty cool. So the company, for whatever reason, could no longer move forward. Maybe because they couldn't build rigs fast enough. Maybe it's because they were built for full time, right? They were built back in 2008 up through 2011 with 3-inch walls. That's what Luxe is doing now. So I'm like, oh my goodness, that is high level quality. And I don't care if I don't have a warranty because I'm buying used. I'm going into that buying decision knowing that I'm going to have to maybe get an inspection done, but also knowing going in that it was built slower and it was built with higher quality level. I can probably trust that it's going to last longer. Now, I don't want to buy something from 2008 or 2011 because then you start thinking, okay, there are some resorts, some campgrounds, not very many, but some that require your rigs to be less than 10 years old. So I was like, okay, well, 2008, we're kind of bumped out of that. 2011, if we're going to do it for 6 or 7 years, then maybe that's pushing it. So let's look at the Lifestyle brand. I did find, by making phone calls to people, because I wanted more and more information, what years were best to buy the Lifestyle brand, okay? And so I found that the first 2 years are better than the last 2 years. Why is that? Well, because the company of Evergreen decided they wanted to change the way some things were being done, and the employees, this is through a phone call that I made, the employees didn't really care for that, and so they started leaving. They didn't like that the trailer was being built with different quality specifications. And every company has the right to do what they want, and in many times it's based on financial, how much money can you make, right? So if they were willing to, at the time, cut the way they did things to save money so they could make more, right? That's every business has that right to make that choice. But I, as a consumer, can make the choice to buy only a certain couple of years. So now we've narrowed it down to these 2 specific years, this specific brand. And you see how reading, watching videos, calling people, getting on forums. I actually paid $20 for a year to be on a private forum for Carriage and these Lifestyle brand RVs because they're specific. So this group I'm in gives you access to all the manuals for all of the products that were put into these rigs. They talk about things that might be specific to the trailers. I mean, that's like my own private little haven of answers. It's not a Facebook group. It's people that are only in these rigs. And so I think that that is the best way to make a financial decision, especially at this price, right? Now, what I have found is there are, right now, the floor plan we're looking at, I looked last night, there are 11 available across the country, and we're willing to go anywhere to get our RV. That's not a problem. It doesn't have to be local, but 3 of those 11 are local to me. There's a 4th one in Houston. But what I'm now able to do, because I know this information, I know what they're supposed to look like inside, I know what options came with these, because I actually even found then brochures of these years. I found the actual Lifestyle and Carriage brochures so I could see what was offered to consumers when they bought those trailers brand new, okay? And So basically, I have learned what they're valued at. Well, there's 11 across the country for 2013 and 2014, the specific floor plan that we want. And now I can go in and say they're valued at this price. Not valued, because I will tell you something my dad always told me. The value of something is what somebody's willing to pay for it, right? So you can list something, so we can list our house for what we think it should go for based on the comps around in our neighborhood, based on the same square footage, all of that stuff. We can get advice from our realtor and we can list it at that one specific price, right? But in the end, if nobody's willing to pay that price, then it's not valued at that. Does that make sense? So these trailers, they're 2013, 2014, this specific floor plan, they are ranging from $38,995 to $49,995. 7 of them are at $49,995. So right now, that is the going rate that people are asking for it, but that doesn't mean they're getting it. See what I'm saying? If you do your due diligence, you can look at what people are buying because you're paying attention. I have been looking at these same exact RVs since January 7th, and 2 have sold out of. There was a total then of, there was 23 and 2 have sold. Now that's a variety of floor plans. And that is between 2013 and 2016 ages. 2 out of 23 have sold in the last 5.5 weeks. I guess that's right. Yeah. So if you've watched my other videos, I love numbers. And that's because I just feel so much more aware of what's going to happen with my money. The coolest part about this is now I have a little bit more negotiating power because I've learned all of this. Now, for people that are going to go and buy a new trailer at a dealership, many of them are doing that because they want the, the comfort of having someone show you how to use the trailer, having someone tell you, or maybe get financing. There are reasons to go to a dealership. I totally get that. Most people don't necessarily know how to work on an RV. My husband is very handy, and our goal is for him to become an inspector. So he will be learning about all of the different electrical system, plumbing system, refrigeration, AC, tires, all of those things. He's going to learn that stuff. And I believe, especially with YouTube, we'd be able to figure out how to fix anything. We're going to purchase insurance, and we're going to purchase, roadside assistance. But for the most part, our solution to a warranty on a used rig is to put money in savings and have an emergency fund, right? Have enough to replace all the tires if need be. Have enough to replace an AC unit. Get those prices in advance. Have enough to replace your generator. Have enough to replace your refrigerator. Did I already say that? Refrigerator, AC, tires, generator. What else? Stove. So if you get a price list of all those things going in and say, okay, we're going to have this amount of money set aside for emergencies. Granted, that's not the only things that can happen. But if you have that money set aside, you kind of are self-insuring yourself, right? Or self-warrantying yourself. I think that when you go into it like that, you're so much more aware and ready for what can happen. And you as a consumer are more educated and know where your money's going. I I mean, I buy a car from a dealership, the car I'm sitting in. We just bought it a year and a half ago, and I love this car, and I'm thankful for dealerships. In fact, I'm kind of scared to buy a used car from somebody. I don't know why I'm not afraid to buy a trailer from somebody. I will say this. Most of these used trailers are at mom and pop dealerships. Well, there's a benefit to that and not. One is they've already kind of looked through it and they took it in on trade, and so hopefully they've already looked through it. But this is where I would say hire an inspector, because you're relying on them to say what's good and what's not. So I would always err on the caution of hiring an inspector. The best thing about this would be that you have more control of you have more knowledge going into the negotiation, and that's the biggest thing. I think that mom and pop dealerships aren't all that bad, and if we go with a mom and pop dealership, then some of them have access to financing, so that still situation, like, now I have heard nothing good about Camping World, but there's the other largest RV dealership in the country is Lazy Days. And if you see, there's a lot of big YouTube channels that have purchased from Lazy Days. 3 really large ones: Keep Your Daydream, Changing Lanes, and Getaway Couple. All 3 of them have purchased from Lazy Days in Florida. And so there must be a pretty reputable dealership to continue getting praise from people that are pretty vocal on their channels. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the only place you can buy an RV from. I would read reviews. I would read, I was talking to a young person the other day. Young, meaning I'm 52, young might be 25. And I was asking them, when you look at reviews, where do you look at them? Like, because I look at reviews for different places on Google, right? And she said they use Yelp. I've never even used Yelp. Like, do you use Yelp or Google? I mean, I go in and I like to leave reviews, because a lot of times people don't take the time to leave a good one. Most times people will go and put a negative one, but I go in and put a positive one because I think it's worth it. It's beneficial to these people, and it helps people like me know, because I filter the reviews by the date that they were done. I don't want to see the best one from 4 years ago, or the worst one from 4 years ago. I want to see something from the last 6 months. So, but, okay, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have kind of seen what's the process of when you're making these big, huge financial decisions, especially when you're giving up your home, your physical sticks and bricks home. These are some big decisions, because most people will tell you you're walking away from an asset and you're going to a depreciating box. And you want to know what you're spending your money on. There's so many horror stories of people that have been in something for 3 months, and 6 weeks of that time frame, the rig has been in the dealership service bay getting warranty work done. That's another thing I want to completely avoid. I would rather use a mobile RV fix-it unit, somebody that comes to me and fixes something, versus giving my trailer to a dealership. I really want to try to stay away from that as much as possible. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Maybe it'll help you think of some things. Maybe it'll trigger your thinking to maybe do some research on a used rig. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'm an open book, and I'd be willing to help you out or talk through some things with you. Again, join Facebook groups and read. There's so many things that you can learn from other people's questions that can impact your decisions. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.